Today's topic will be on solving linear equations using a general strategy. Let's go through the steps. So step 1 is to simplify each side of the equation as much as possible, such as using the distributive property to remove any parentheses and combining like terms. And then step 2 and 3 is to collect all the variable terms and constant terms on either side of the equation, such as using addition, subtraction, and so on and so forth. So step 4 is to make the coefficient of the variable term equal to 1. So you can't have 2x, you can't have 2y, you can't have 2u, you have to have just 1. The coefficient must be 1. So just x, just y, just z, just anything with just the coefficient is 1. And you use the multiplication or division property of equality, and then you state the solution to the equation, and then step 5 is to check the solution to make sure it is correct. Now let's try an example. We have negative on the outside of the parentheses, and then inside the parentheses x plus 2, and that is all equal to 5. So let's first distribute the negative to the x and the 2. Then we get negative x minus 2 equals 5. Now let's add 2 on both sides of the equation to get x isolated. So then we get negative x is equal to 7. And then to get x just by itself as a positive variable, let's divide both sides by negative 1. And then we get our final answer is x equals negative 7. Now let's check that this answer is correct by substituting negative 7 in for x into the original equation. So you do a little bit of simplification. You get 7 minus 2 equals 5. And you want to make sure that each side is equal to one another. In this next example, let's solve 7 times x minus 3 plus 4 is equal to negative 3. So let's first distribute the 7 to the x in the negative 3. We get 7x minus 21 plus 4 equals negative 3. Let's add those like terms, such as the two constants on the left side, and we get 7x minus 17 equals negative 3. Now let's begin to isolate the variables by adding 17 to both sides. That one 17 is supposed to be read to signify that we are adding 17 to both sides, so just pretend that that's red. Anyway, so after doing the simplification, we get 7x equals 14. And just to get x by itself, we divide both sides by 7, and we get x equals 2. Let's check. Let's substitute 2 in for x, and doing a little simplification, we want to make sure that negative 3 is equal to negative 3, and it is. And then let's take a look at a conditional equation. Conditional equations are equations that are true for one or more values of the variable and false for all other values of the variable. For example, let's solve 2x plus 6 equals 2 times x plus 3. We first have to distribute the 2 to the x and to the 3, and we get 2x plus 6 equals 2x plus 6. You can start to see that both sides look different than what we've been seeing. They're equal to one another, but let's keep simplifying. We get 2x plus 6 minus 6 equals 2x plus 6 minus 6. And then you just isolate those two. The 2x equals 2x. And the conditional part is that there is no constant in this equation. So since both sides of these are equal and we can't simplify really anymore, I mean, you can get rid of the 2's on both sides, but it's just x equals x. So we consider this answer to be just all real numbers because there's no way to finish this. Anything you put into x is going to be equal to one another. So you can choose any number from negative infinity to positive infinity, but the x has to be the same, so on both sides. That's why it's called all real numbers. However, an equation that is false for all values of the variable is called a contradiction. A contradiction is considered to have no solution. Let's take a look at this one, for example. Let's solve 2x plus 6 equals 2 times x plus 4. So let's distribute the 2 onto the x and the 4, and we get 2x plus 6 equals 2x plus 8. Now we subtract 6 from both sides, or you can subtract 8, it's up to you, but you're still going to get the same answer. Then we get 2x equals 2x minus 2. Now, when we try to isolate the variable onto one side of the equation, we just subtract 2x from both sides, but we get 0 equals negative 2 after all this simplification. So 0 cannot equal negative 2. So this is a contradiction because this solution is a no solution situation.